channel and welcome back to another video. Today I am going to be talking through some of the weird and wonderful pregnancy symptoms that I have had throughout my first pregnancy. Everybody always warns you about the typical nausea, cravings, morning sickness, but nothing could have prepared me for some of these symptoms. Just before I jump into the symptoms, I just want to give a little disclaimer that I am not a professional and this is not medical advice. Every single pregnancy is different and this is just my personal experience. Not everyone will experience all, if any, of these pregnancy symptoms, and if you do get any symptoms that you're worried about or that aren't normal for you, always check with your healthcare professional. So the first few symptoms that I'm going to mention were mainly in the first trimester, and number one is an awful metallic taste in my mouth. No matter what I ate, drank, how many times I brushed my teeth and my tongue, it was just impossible to budge. It was this awful, like, metallic, coppery taste in my mouth. It literally tasted like I was eating metal, and literally no matter what I did, I could not get rid of it. It made water taste awful. I went through a period of time where I couldn't even drink water because it just tasted so horrible that I had to put juice in it. The next symptom that really shocked me, and it was one that I really suffered with during the first trimester, but that was a heightened sense of smell. And this wasn't just that certain foods smelled really bad to me, it was literally the most random things. People's body odours. I feel like my smell was that heightened that I could literally smell people, and that sounds really disgusting, and trust me, it was. If I was getting public transport to work, or if I was just out and about in and around the general public and someone was near me, I could literally smell them and it would literally make me heave. I couldn't open the fridge because the smell of the fridge absolutely knocked me sick, and the fridge was absolutely fine. There was no like off food, there was no spillages or anything, just the actual scent of the fridge itself literally made me want to cry. And then just kind of everyday products that wouldn't usually bother me made me feel really sick. Things like hairspray, body wash, stuff like that, even though they're kind of smells that don't bother me on a day-to-day and smells that I usually like, absolutely knocked me sick. Another symptom that I didn't actually put down to pregnancy for quite a few weeks until I googled it. I thought I just had a cold or I was getting a little bit ill, but a constant blocked nose. I didn't realise that you could have like congestion issues during pregnancy, so I had a blocked nose for weeks on end, and it was really hard to get rid of, and I was really struggling to breathe through my nose, and I just put it down to getting a cold. And then after a few weeks I was like, right, I've got no other cold symptoms, I've had this symptom for weeks now, surely this is not normal. So I googled it, mentioned that I was pregnant, and it was like, yeah, this is a pregnancy symptom. And then another symptom that started in the first trimester and has lasted throughout my whole pregnancy are really weird pregnancy dreams. The dreams that I've been having have literally been nightmares. Like, it's almost as if it's like an anxiety dream. So I've had dreams where I've given birth to my baby and we've taken her home and she's in the Moses basket. We go to bed, I wake up in the morning and she's gone. She's not in the Moses basket, we can't find it anywhere, almost as if someone's taken her. And I have literally woken up like sweating, so anxious because of that dream. I've had a dream where I have gone into labour and my boyfriend's not been with me and I've not been able to get a hold of him, so I basically just went through the labour and birth on my own without my partner there. And then the rest of these symptoms are ones that came in later in pregnancy. Some came in the second trimester, but the majority of these did start in the third trimester, so late pregnancy. I have really been suffering with carpal tunnel, and I didn't even know what that was. I'd heard of it, but I didn't know what it was until I looked into the symptoms that I was having. And basically throughout my whole third trimester, I have had the most awful pain, like aches and pains and stiffness in my fingers, my knuckles, my wrists. It has literally been so painful. My grip has gone really weak, so because of this stiffness and these pains in my hands, I'm not able to grip stuff or like open stuff as well as I usually would. And this symptom is really prominent at night. I will wake up during the night in absolute agony with my hands, and I just find it so strange that that could be a pregnancy symptom. Another one that has really been affecting me at night is calf cramp. Every single time I stretch in bed when I'm laid down, I get the most awful cramps in both of my calves, and I have to really quickly change position to try and get the cramp to go away. Obviously with this being a fitness channel, I am into fitness, so the first few times this happened I just kind of thought it was to do with training or I was dehydrated or whatever, but the more it started happening, again I looked into it and yeah, it's a pregnancy symptom. So now when I stretch in bed, I can't just stretch spontaneously. I have to get in a normal, like in a comfortable position. I have to flex my toes upwards and then stretch to avoid cramp. Another symptom is lightning crotch. Now I have had this before. I get this quite often when I'm on my period, so it's not that much of a shock that it is a pregnancy symptom, but I'd just kind of forgotten about it because I've obviously not had a period for a long time with being pregnant. If you don't know what lightning crotch is, it's basically sharp stabbing pains up your vagina or through your cervix. That tends to happen at night as well, and it does happen when I'm stood up, but it mainly happens when I'm like lay down in bed, and it just comes out of nowhere and there's literally nothing you can do to help the pain. You just have to fight through it. Next up is a really weak bladder. Now I knew that this was a pregnancy symptom, I just didn't know the severity of it. So I've had quite a weak bladder now throughout my whole pregnancy from the very start, just really needing to go to the toilet a lot more than what I usually would. But now that baby is bigger and that she has dropped, the amount of times that I pee a day is absolutely ridiculous. I can literally go for a wee, 5 minutes later I need to go again. I can go for a wee, wash my hands, I have to go to the toilet again before I even leave the bathroom. And believe it or not, I think that is the one symptom that I have really struggled with the most in this trimester because it really interrupts my sleep. Another symptom that I have really been experiencing recently is extreme thirst. I literally cannot stop drinking water. Now obviously that's not necessarily a bad thing, I'm quite a big water drinker anyway, but I am just thirsty constantly, like no matter how much I drink. And we have had a heat wave recently, so that has just made it even worse. I'm just drinking so much, but then that paired with a really weak bladder and needing to pee all the time just does not go well together. I feel like the bathroom is the room that I spend the most time in my house because I literally just cannot stop peeing. Another one is itchy skin. I didn't think that would be a pregnancy symptom, but I have been getting like really itchy legs and ankles in this trimester, especially more towards the end. I think this is because I'm obviously carrying more weight and because it's been hot recently as well. I just feel like my legs, there's a lot more blood flowing to my legs, so I just feel a little bit itchy sometimes. But definitely bring that up to your midwife or doctor or whatever if you are experiencing severe itchiness, because I do believe that is a symptom of something a little bit more serious in pregnancy. Mine has just been mild and nothing to be concerned about, but if you are worried about itchiness, definitely bring that up to your midwife. So staying on the theme of skin, I have noticed a few skin changes throughout pregnancy. I've noticed a few skin tags appearing. Again, not something you would expect to be a pregnancy symptom. And then I have also been getting these really weird like white spots on my legs, especially when I'm warm. So obviously, like I say, it's been a heat wave. If I'm stood up on my feet for quite a while, my legs will go really red and these white spots will appear. I think this is obviously due to like blood circulation and things like that, but not something I expected. And then, oh my gosh, don't even get me started on the swelling. I thought my belly would be the only thing that swells during pregnancy, but my rings no longer fit on my the fingers that I normally wear them on. So this ring usually goes on my middle finger, but I've had to put it on my ring finger because it won't fit on that finger anymore. And on this hand, I've had to stop wearing my rings because I can't get a ring on my hand. And then my ankles and feet have gone really swollen as well. Luckily my shoes still fit, but they are very sore, very swollen, and all my calves started to swell a little bit as well. So it basically just looked like my calf and my ankle were just kind of in one line. There was no definition, it was just a big fat stump basically. And then the last couple of symptoms are kind of to do with baby's movement. So recently, within the past like 3 weeks, I want to say, I've started hearing a clicking noise when baby girl moves. It's not every time that she moves, it's just every so often I'll hear like a click coming from my tummy, and it really freaked me out the first few times that I heard it because I was like, what is that? Is that her clicking, or is it me clicking, or is it something like popping inside. Like, I really didn't know what it was. I looked into it, and it is normal. It could be caused by multiple different things, but yeah, that was a very strange one. I have tried to get my boyfriend to hear it, but because it's so sporadic and random, it doesn't happen every time she moves, I can't really get in a position where everything's quiet and I've got him there listening when it happens. And then something else that I didn't expect, this one isn't as shocking, but I just didn't think of it, is that baby girl constantly gets stuck in my ribs. So I don't know if it's, I think now it's a foot, but it could be a hand. She is head down now, but I can always feel something that feels like a foot or a hand getting stuck in my ribs, and I have to kind of gently massage that area to try and untuck her foot or hand from my rib, and that is obviously really uncomfortable. It happens a lot at night when I am laid down on my side. The foot will get stuck in the side that I'm lay on, and I have to kind of change positions and try and get her to wiggle her way out of my ribs. But yeah, those are the weird and wonderful pregnancy symptoms that I have been experiencing throughout this pregnancy. There are probably a few more that I forgot. I feel like my first trimester feels so long ago that there was probably some that I've forgotten. But as this video is posted, baby girl will be here. I'm filming this as I'm still pregnant, just so the symptoms are fresh in my mind and I don't miss as many off. But let me know in the comments if you have had any of these symptoms or any other symptoms that I might not have experienced that you have that are a little bit strange and no one talks about. Please let me know. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.